Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, our patch members and patch ambassadors will be showing us their own personal patch designs, and we'll be talking about their own personal mental health journeys and why it matters to them, and then why it should be talked about on campus. Thank you.
Awesome. So this sweatshirt clearly got the patch logo up top, and down here it says "Be nice to people for no reason." And so, to be honest, that motto is kind of something that I live by. I think too often we find ourselves, especially in the college setting, looking at relationships in a transactional manner. You know, we always have a rationale as to why we're talking to someone, why we're interacting with them, and really why we're being nice. And so I think something that we all should live by is being able to be nice to people for no reason, because at the end of the day, that's just something everybody should be doing.
So for my personalized patched item, I tried to incorporate two different elements, and that is the different colors and then this blank patch here. And so I went with the tie-dye because some spots are dark, some spots are light, and that's kind of what my experience with mental health has been. You know, there's been some great times, there's been some dark times, but together they make something pretty cool looking. So that's just one of the elements. And then the second element was this blank patch. One of the big themes with patched is identifying what our personal patch is. And I know for a lot of people that's been family, friends, maybe working out. Mine kind of changes all the time. And so I left it blank so that throughout, you know, my experience and my journey with mental health, I can kind of identify it as I want to, that nothing's ever stagnant for me. So I kept it blank.
I added a moniker that was really important to me, which is the idea that time and everything is temporary. So I put on my left arm and it's upside down, so it's just for me. Whenever I look down at my watch or anything, it's a constant reminder that all of this is temporary. So through the good, the bad, everything, it's important for us to cherish it, but also at the lowest of times, at the end of the day, we're gonna get through it.
My patched item relates back to high school. So when I think dark green, I think of our mascot. And when I also think high school, I think of my own time with self-doubt and other personal struggle. So for me, one of the things that really helped me get through this was understanding that my friends, my family, and the community abroad always has my back. And if there's anything that I may need, it won't be far, it won't be hard to find. And at the end of the day, I'll be able to make it through. And another thing that was really important to me was always understanding that my own experience, whether inside, outside the classroom, with friends, with family, whatever may have you, is ultimately what I make of it. And one thing that was manifested in for me was the saying of "the world is yours." So for me, the world is yours means that whatever I want to do in this world, if I dedicate myself to that and I keep in mind the support systems that I have to be able to do that, then I will be able to do just that.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to get to design this hoodie in the way that I want. I struggle with bipolar disorder, and a lot of times for me that looks like a lot of black and white thinking. So I'm excited to tie-dye this in some black and white to remind me, along with my patch here, that it'll be okay and I can get through it.
So this is my piece. Obviously the patch logo in the front, and there's lots of different logos at the back with the saying "I survive and now I thrive." This logo represents the places I've been to. Although I'm originally from South Korea, I had to move to India during my high school year to study abroad for 5 years. After that, I was fortunate enough to come to the United States to pursue my bachelor's degree. However, after my freshman year, as you can see the logo out there, I had to go back to Korea to serve in the military for 21 months long. And each experience I had in my life was not easy. I had to adapt to new environment, new culture, but having the positive mindset and the vulnerability to push myself out of my comfort zone helped me get through all these experiences. And that's the reason why I put "I survived" over here. I survived in each situation that I had. And I believe it's time to try. With all the lessons I learned from these experiences, I'm ready to thrive in each situation I'm going to have in the near future.
So my personal item represents my hobby of creative writing. If I turn around, you can see that I have "Nothing is ever broken" written over and over again. And this kind of represents my ability and my need to write every single day, even if it's just a little, to remind myself of the things that are important in life and the things that kind of hold me together.
Today I'm wearing one of my favorite shirts that we did with Mental Health Matters, which is our beneficiary organization here at Ohio State. When we were trying to figure out how we could keep this project going and keep a legacy here on campus, we found Mental Health Matters, which is an organization that benefits mental health awareness on campus by providing different initiatives and different events for students to help raise awareness and fight the stigma against mental health awareness and asking for help. This shirt means a lot to me because it was our first shirt that we did with Mental Health Matters, and it's personally my favorite because the colors are vibrant, it stands out, and it lets people know that you're an ally of mental health awareness and that you can always ask for help.
I think talking about mental health on Ohio State's campus and within this college atmosphere is extremely important because it just starts a conversation. I think when we think about talking about mental health, we get these kind of red flags like, oh, we shouldn't talk about it, it's so taboo. But if we break down that stigma and learn that it's something that is just part of every facet of life, mental health is equivalent to physical wellness, nutritional wellness, whatever you want to equate it to, it's the same caliber as those other forms of health. And so if we break down that taboo stigma that surrounds it, I think it'll just lead to a more inclusive and better community here at Ohio State and in the world overall. So
I don't think I've met a college student who doesn't have stress or anxiety. All of us are kind of struggling through this journey together. So I think it's important for us to be able to talk about these things openly with one another and really respect each other's mental health journey because it's important that we stick together.
The first time that I realized that mental health was something that everybody faces. So I remember my freshman year, I joined a fraternity, and something that goes along with getting into a fraternity is getting to know every brother, especially those in your pledge class. So I distinctly remember an opportunity when me and everybody in my pledge class sat around in the basement of just a building here on campus, and we all were allowed the floor to talk basically about our entire lives. We were given as much time as we wanted, and we could talk about anything we chose to. And the thing that I took from that was that every single person around the room had something that they had gone through, something that I honestly would never have thought just by looking at them. And all of those things had contributed single-handedly to their mental health. And so I think that to me is something that speaks worlds about how important mental health is. When we walk around campus, when we see people on a day-to-day basis, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. People can look at you and they can seem completely normal. But what I would say is, I've now walked around with a different lens when I look at people, when I meet people, when I introduce myself to people, knowing that, my life could be great for the time being, but there's so many other things that are going on in other people's lives that I'm never going to know about. And I think that's also just why it's so important to ask, to really genuinely, be nice to people for no reason and take the time to care about what's going on in somebody else's life, because you have no idea the impact that sitting there, listening, asking, and hearing about somebody else's experience will change in their life. And let alone their life, it'll also change yours.